Hello everyone, myself Shreya and today I will present our paper on analysis of elephant movement in Sub-Saharan Africa, ecological, climatic and conservation perspectives. On behalf of my co-authors Matthew, Greg and Prasenjit, I'll be presenting this paper. We're basically interested into the world of elephants and how they interact with their environment. Elephants play a crucial role in our ecosystems. However, human-elephant conflicts, habitat degradation, and poaching activities are prevalent challenges. So, understanding their movement can give us insights into mitigating these challenges. Now, elephants don't definitely wander aimlessly. There are intricate patterns to their movements deeply influenced by environmental factors. Two pivotal ecological drivers behind elephant movements are seasonal variations and rainfall patterns. So they search for food, water, and ideal conditions which are often dictated by these drivers. Now, our methodology has three major subcomponents. The first one is integration of feature engineering, followed by the clustering techniques, and finally the movement modeling. So, our comprehensive analysis highlights how rainfall and climate change impacts influence the migratory paths of these majestic creatures. In this paper, we examined various environmental and anthropogenic factors that influence the movement patterns of a specific group of 14 elephants from a distinct herd. Extreme temperature can influence where elephants choose to migrate, often moving to areas that offer a more moderate climate. The interplay of temperature and latitude longitude can suggest how regional climates actually influence their paths. Now, human settlements can also act as barriers or risk zones for elephant movements. So, human may avoid areas with high human concentration to reduce such conflicts or might be even attracted to crop fields. Third, the elephants require a significant amount of water daily for drinking, bathing, and other activities. So, availability of water sources becomes especially vital during dry season. So, elephants often have memorized locations or water holes and rivers, which greatly influence their movement patterns. And altitude can definitely determine the vegetation types and water availability. And mapping elephant movements using latitude, longitude, altitude, and other geospatial attributes can be essential for the conservation efforts, providing insights into habitat preferences and areas of potential human elephant conflict. The next question is that why the clustering is required, because the first point is the shuttling movement motions in elephants. So elephants generally exhibit a shuttling motion during foraging, oscillating within a region before moving to another destination. Now the purpose of clustering is that the clustering can precisely capture these shuttling movements, allowing us to differentiate between localized foraging and longer migratory walks. And we have also used DB-scan over K-means because DB-scan is preferred as it can detect irregular patterns and varying densities in elephant movement, which is not always possible with K-means clustering. Here we provide an example from the dataset. The centroid of a cluster represents a geometric center or average location of all points within that cluster. So by identifying the centroid, we pinpoint the approximate area where elephants exhibit significant activity or interest, providing insights into the key habitats or the resources. So comparing feature spaces with and without temperature on elephant AM306 from the Kruger dataset has been shown here. Here the black cross sign represents the centroids calculated with temperature included into the feature space, and the large colored dots represent the centroids of the clusters calculated solely on the location data. Now let us briefly review the overall methodology of our work. So we first utilized DB-scan on the Kruger National Park as well as the Etosha National Park dataset, which provides insights into distinct elephant movement clusters within the park's terrain. The second one is the heat data integration, where this heat data not only visualize the concentration of elephant movements, but it also aids in effectively identifying clusters and their respective centroids. So it gives a more accurate picture of a high activity zones. The third one is incorporating the historical weather data. So by integrating this historical weather station data, we can apply a temperature influence DB scan approach to other data sets. So helps us to understand how climatic conditions may have impacted elephant movement patterns over time. This is a flowchart for our overall methodology, and you can also see the specific implementation details here provided. For example, how we have used the Shapley and GeoPandas to implement the overall structure, and it will give us the specific details on the overall building blocks of our work. Next, we examine the performance of DB-scan clustering when using weather station data. After examining the performance of DB-scan on elephants' weather data in Etosha dataset, it is evident that the temperature influence centroids effectively detect areas of high density, indicating that previously mentioned points of interest. So, given the successful performance of these temperature influence centroids techniques on the weather dataset, and the moderate correlation observed between the study data and the station data, we can now proceed with great confidence to apply this methodology to deserts lacking temperature information. So this opens up new possibilities for exploring and analyzing diverse data set using this methodology. Next, in this figure, we can see that elephant centroids in the vicinity of human settlements within Etosha National Park, specifically at the Halali and Okakuzi campsites, have been depicted here. The centroids are represented by the elephant icons with a green marker indicating groups of centroids. Now, this centroids encompasses both the temperature influence and without temperature influence variance, utilizing a fuzzy matching as we have provided in our paper. The circular boundaries surrounding the settlements represent the extent of human population in the area. So the presence of centroids within and around this boundary suggests the interest of elephants in the settlement and the surrounding region. According to information from Etosha National Park's website, both these campsites feature watering holes, which could explain the elephants' affinity for this area. So additionally, these centroids are observed near bodies of water where elephant centroids from the Kruger dataset align along a river within a nearby campsite visible. This implies that elephants may prioritize the presence of rivers over human settlements as the concentration of centroids is primarily along the river rather than around the settlements. Now, this visual showcases the dynamic movement patterns of elephants in the Etosha region with an elevation map overlying this context. Observing trajectories against elevation gradients allow us to understand how topography might influence elephant movement, revealing paths chosen based on the elevation benefits or different constraints as it might happen. And similarly, this is for the Kruger dataset, and you can see there are also different elephant trajectories have been shown on the map. Now, this figure depicts a movement path for elephant groups at Kruger National Park. The results indicated that changes in temperature play a smaller role in influencing the transition between states for uh, elephants, Etosha elephants compared to the Kruger elephants. And here you can see the overall movement pattern for the Etosha National Park. Now, moving to the question that what and why. So, if you see the Kruger's water sources, Kruger does not boast large water bodies, but there are smaller streams that serve as crucial hydration points for elephants. But for the Etosha landscape, Etosha, which is distinct from Kruger, presents its unique set of geographic features influencing elephant movement. Now, elephant movement patterns in Kruger, actually we have seen, there are localized activities around available water sources and rich foraging zones. And for Etosha, it displays a string-like movement patterns indicative of elephants possibly navigating between distinct water sources or specific foraging regions. And there are factors to consider. For example, could these differences in movement be attributed to seasonal variations, or do they reflect broader climatic trends affecting overall water and forage availability? Now, as we have already mentioned, that the temperature has a greater effect in Kruger, as we have seen from the experiment and from the dataset. Now, the effectiveness of the two clustering algorithms, HDBScan and AGALO, was assessed using this elephant data that included temperature and elevation. So this figure illustrates the clustering results obtained from these methods for a particular elephant, and in comparison to different clustering algorithms. And HDBscan demonstrated its ability to form varying density cluster. It was observed that Agallo, despite its capability to handle thin and elongated data shapes for clustering, did not present any advantages over other tested clustering methods. So it was found to incorporate all noise present in the data, rendering DBscan and HDBscan more informative due to their resilience to such noises. And for the evaluation of the clustering algorithms, we have used two metrics. And these metrics were selected as they effectively gauge the density, separation, and variation of this cluster. As we have seen, the Silhouette score demonstrated significant differences in the performance of each clustering algorithm on each data set. And we also perform hidden Markov model analysis of the elephant group movement. This model uses a bivariate time series of distance travel between time and change of direction between time. So for the analysis, initial step and the ankle parameter were established for each state, and this plot generated for a particular elephant has two states. One is a transit state as characterized by the large steps with smaller turns, and one is forging state where the elephant takes shorter steps with larger turns. And here the presence of the black circles on the plot signifies the elephants spend a significant amount of time in those specific areas. And among the circles, the one level with C is located near a man-made water hole and a local tourist station. So these findings suggest that the elephants are likely drawn to this location due to the availability of the water and potentially other resources. The circle area labeled as B corresponds to the vicinity of Dolomite Camp, which serves an explanation for its designation as an area of interest. So it is feasible that the camp provides attractants or resources that make it appealing to the elephants. So regarding the circle level, the A's placement suggests that it may represent an area abundant in food, water, or shade. So in summary, this paper provides insightful findings on animal movement patterns, specifically elephants, demonstrating the influence of temperature and land features on their overall movement behavior. And thank you for your attention, and please let us know any of your comments and suggestions. Thank you.